Yeah, recording.
Oops. That's that one.
But did you guys want a copy of my presentation?
No, that's not. Yeah, I have it from. You could have email that.
Oh, we're at 10 o'clock. Everybody ready? Welcome to the BOCC meeting for December 30th. Would you rise and pledge allegiance with me? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome. Have agenda approval.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
First and second, any discussion? Call for vote.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Spillman,
Yes,
motion passes.
consent agenda.
All right, on today's agenda, I have the meeting minutes for December 16th. And I have a motion for Selena Valdez, going from part-time to full-time in Public Works Parks.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
First and second. Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Spillman,
Yes,
motion passes.
under appointments.
I don't see Debbie here, so we want to go right into economic development. We can do that.
Yeah, why don't we go under that? Have everyone not behind.
Oh, there's Debbie.
Oh,
Yeah, I just did it.
want to go ahead with Lola now or?
Debbie, you want to go now? Or you want?
I can go, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, don't fall.
Thanks, Steve. How's everybody today?
Good.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
Okay, so I have
You state your name and
Debbie Reynolds, the treasurer of Huerfano County. And I have to present today the 2025 request to cancel taxes that are uncollectible. And so what these are if the treasurer's deed has been issued, we have to cancel any taxes that there are. Commercial improvements moved out, destroyed, double assessments, state assessed where we cannot collect, and accounts that have been deleted are uncollectible. So I need a signature and have it approved by the commissioners, and then a signature from the clerk also. Okay, and then once she's here, you can, if it's approved, have her sign it and then record this. So I think, did you attach it in there? Did you get to attach a copy of this? I did not do it. Okay, so if you guys want copies, we can make you copies for this. And look at it. But what is the total on there too?
$32,707.25.
It's cleaning out the tax roll books. It's come down a lot from a few years back that we had to cancel those property taxes and collecting those. And so when it's approved, you just go in and clean them up and get them off our rolls. Mobile homes that have been destroyed, or assessors are assessing and they're not there. Check them and they're gone. Little junky properties that data says for no property, anything like that is really not bankable sometimes.
We need to sign this now.
Yeah, you can sign it to approve it and get it all signed, and then I'll have everybody
have
sign
the
it.
motion.
What was the dollar amount again? 17,000. Pardon me?
We done the motion or?
32,000, what was it, Nick? 32,000.
It's $32,707.25. So I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 request to cancel taxes in the amount of $32,707.25.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Booth,
Yes.
motion passes.
Okay. So yeah, you all three sign it and then I can give it to,
I can get a copy.
and then you copy. Yeah. I'll have her give you guys a copy.
Go hand
Or
it-
actually, I emailed it to Hannah, so,
well, hand needs a copy of the signed one too.
okay, so you might put my email and just forward it to her. That'll work, huh? That'll work.
She needs to sign copy.
She needs the signed copy, yes. And then the clerk, which is Erica, can find it. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Alright.
Thank you.
And that number is.
Huh?
That's across all entities or just us? 32,000 number, that's across all entities or just us?
That's, all entities,
Alright.
that's us. Is we're partially that good as our notes 22.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, look, Carlton.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you. Morning.
Good morning.
And to present to you, our process and what we're going through as part of the public hearing that is required by the EPA in order to send a, grant request to them. And so we will prepare it, we are officially in our public notice period to, for the opportunity for the public to show them. So we want. Just background, we have, Huerfano County received, Huerfano County Economic Development received a EPA grant on August 22nd of 2022 to assess properties for brownfields impact and environmental impact. And we have been under that process since that time. We, and part of that process was hiring a contractor, Geosyntech, and Nick Huerfano is online with us, and he will have a part of this. Let me just briefly outline how we're planning to proceed. We have a presentation outline, and Carlton Croft, Huerfano County Economic Development Director, has a part, Nick Huerfano has a part, and myself, Lucas Bradley, as the president of Huerfano County Economic Development Head. So at this point, I just briefly introduced the issue, and that is this is the public notice portion of the grant application process for a cleanup grant. Nick, if you can unmute yourself, I would happily have you take the phase 1 and phase 2 assessment grant and those results.
Yeah, good morning. This is Nick Tolaco with Geosyntech Consultants. Hopefully everyone can hear me.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. As Lola mentioned, we're here to give a quick presentation related to the US EPA Brownfield cleanup grant application that we're working on for 2 properties in Walsenburg. I think the properties are 12, or addresses 123 through 135 West 7th Street in Walsenburg. One probably, I mean, hopefully is fairly well known as the old hospital, which was the Antique Mart, and then the other adjacent building, small commercial building, right directly adjacent to it to the east. Lola first asked that I kind of talk about what we've done with the assessment grant. So as Lola mentioned, in August of 2022, Huerfano County Economic Development Corp was awarded a $500,000 EPA assessment grant This is a grant that can be used for assessment of potential brownfield properties through a couple of different process. One is more environmental evaluation based. This includes the completion of what they call environmental phase ones, which are or environmental site assessments, which is sort of what I would describe as a snapshot picture of what the property was used for and how that historical use or uses, even current uses, would present a potential environmental concern to the property. In total, we completed 8 phase ones throughout the county through the assessment grant, or sorry, 9 phase ones. I apologize. We did one more at the end. These included properties in Levita, Gardner, as well as Walsenburg. From there, we took the ones where we did find potential for what they call a recognized environmental concern, meaning the historical use or the use of the property suggests that there may have been a release or potential release of environmental contaminants over time, and warranted further investigation through either sampling soil or groundwater at the property. And in many cases, most of the properties that had buildings, it warranted that we look and determine if the building contained asbestos or lead or other hazardous building material contaminant. And so with that, we did what I would define as phase 2, which is, again, the testing of soil and groundwater at 3 properties, the Rio Cacharis Inn, the old hospital, and then again, the adjacent property addresses 123 through 127 West 7th Street, which formerly housed a dry cleaner. So soil and groundwater samples were collected from those properties. Other properties where buildings were present, we also completed the asbestos and lead surveys. These properties included the Rio Cacharis itself as well, Lathrop Youth Camp, the old hospital, the former dry cleaners again at 123 through 127 West 7th Street, a property in Levita that we referenced as Block 60, which is sort of kind of where the old field was, the old baseball and / football field. There was an old concession building there, and bathroom building that was also surveyed for asbestos and lead in case that I think that ever moves forward and needs to be demolished. So that's kind of a summary of what we've done under the assessment grant. The other part of what's allowable under the assessment grant is planning. So there's a way some of this money can be used for what they call cleanup planning, which is an evaluation of the remedial activities that may need to take place for a property to get cleaned up so that it can be reused. There's also just sort of general planning in the sense of use planning. What could the property be? And so those activities were also completed, at least from the standpoint of cleanup planning for the old hospital and the former dry cleaner. Again, the properties that we're going forward with for the cleanup grant. And then the grant's been extended into August of next year. And so during that time, we're going to try to look to use the remaining funds for more use planning, in particular for the Lathrop Youth Camp and the Rio Cacharis Inn. So that's kind of the summary. And I guess I'll give a quick summary of the results of the phase 2 related to the properties that we're looking to include in the brownfield cleanup grant. So the main issue, obviously, that we're all pretty familiar with is related to the old hospital building, which was involved in a fire a few years back, and as a result has damaged much of that building. Within that building, there is the presence of asbestos-containing building materials. So these are building materials within the building that contain 1% or greater asbestos, which, you know, obviously potentially can cause, you know, health risks to occupants of the building if it's damaged, and, you know, possibly surrounding buildings. So that was identified. There's the residence as well on that property, and asbestos containing materials were observed in that building. And then as it relates to the former dry cleaner, there is evidence of dry cleaning solvents in the groundwater beneath the property. And this has kind of been documented back as far as 2015. And the concentrations have kind of varied from below the standard to exceeding the groundwater, Colorado's basic standards for groundwater. In addition to some of the testing we did on site, we did do some testing just down gradient or south of the property, which also identified you know, some groundwater contamination that may be associated with the dry cleaner, and also other just sort of industrial activities within the city of Walsenburg. So sort of a commingled groundwater plume. And so that's sort of, again, the results of what we found is that we have asbestos in the old hospital and the residence building on that property. There was no identified asbestos within the dry cleaner building itself. And then we have these groundwater contaminants related to the operation of the former dry cleaner, as well as possibly adjacent properties up gradient. So I'll stop there. I probably talked longer than Lola wanted me to.
Thanks, Nick. In securing these properties, we, as Nick said, we did a phase one on 9 different properties around the county. In order to qualify for EPA funding to clean up, the property needs to either be owned by a nonprofit or a government entity. And so the 2 properties that made the most sense for us to clean up were the old hospital and the dry cleaning. They had the highest amount of environmental concerns. And also in talking to businesses in downtown Walsenburg, we really need parking downtown, and this site would make a great site for that, and maybe some retail space as well. So that's one of the ideas we're kicking around. Unfortunately, it would have been easier if these properties were owned by a government entity, but they weren't. And so started out with the hospital, burned down, and the owner didn't have any insurance on the property. And so she didn't have a great negotiating stance. But she originally wanted $80,000, write her a check for $80,000, and she'd sign it over. But in talking with her over the last 2.5 years, we discussed how many $1 million it was going to cost possibly to clean up her site. And so she reluctantly signed that property over. And then the situation was pretty much the same with the dry cleaning site. The damage to the as far as chemicals being thrown out in the back there, it's caused some real concerns for the chemicals getting into the groundwater. So jumping through a lot of hoops and having to go through a person that has power of attorney over the property was signed over. We have got an extension on our EPA grant that we have now through September. We're going to take the funds that's going to allow us to use to also work with the hospital and take a look at the youth camp and also work with you and see if we might come up with some uses for the Rio Cuchara skin. So we're continuing to work on this. Yeah, but that's how we came to own these two properties. So you came to own these two properties. Thank you.
Okay, and just to back up, when he says the hospital on the going forward, we're talking about Spanish Peaks Hospital and the labor camp. They are under negotiations right now with the city to purchase that property from the city, and that then that we can use as part of the remaining funds and grant for Rio Cuchara and for the Spanish Peaks acquisition of the labor boys camp for planning and reuse of the libraries and doing some structural assessment and doing some planning next steps forward. Okay, so just to be real clear, it's like I said, I'm going hospital, and then it's two different places. So just to make sure we have that clear. And the other thing that I want to be very clear is we appreciate the county commissioners being willing to help us in this endeavor by taking the ownership, the government ownership of these properties so that we can move forward with the EPA grant and be able to have satisfy those requirements. The requirements from the EPA are quite strenuous and detailed, and we want to make sure we accurately check all the boxes so that we get the funding to be able to make those projects. And they work with the county government and county commissioners and county administrator are a big part of that solution, and we appreciate that very much. So, and that kind of alludes to what we're here for, and that is we have a draft plan that we're working with a number of parties. We've been working on this for 2 months very vigorously, and we have the no-vote deadline is January 28th. That's the notice of funding opportunity from the EPA, and so we are hopefully going to submit early. We've been working also with KSU TAB and the State University TAB, who has a section that is to advise and help people for these grants, and we've been working with an individual named Kate Lucas at KSU TAB, which has been very valuable. Okay, I cannot overstate the value that we've gotten from that input and from the guidance. We've also been working with our administrator for the grant from the EPA, from the assessment grant, Stephanie Shen, who has also been an invaluable part of this team. That's the nexus word here, team. Takes a whole team to put together. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands with Nick, Stephanie, Kate, Carl, this is a team member. And because it is a big process. And so Mike is giving you a lot of the details. We're hoping the no-vote deadline is January 28th. We hope to be not as the last minute. Our unofficial goal is January 21st. We have some issues to work out and some things to go back and forth on. But I don't want to be hitting send on January 28th. And a chance to clean up any electronic errors that may occur. Okay, so having said that, Nick, did you want to talk about any more of the details and plans for the cleanup and the timeline?
Sure. Well, I'll try to make this a little faster than the last discussion, but so we, as part of the grant application that Lola mentioned and is presenting and is due on the 28th of January, we've been working on a cleanup, what they call an alternatives analysis, essentially. It's included in what a draft version is included in the packet that was supplied for public review. But essentially, the main components of the cleanup are related to removal of the asbestos from what is the old hospital at 135 West 7th Street, including the residence on the back, which also contains some asbestos. Generally, the process that will probably occur due to the structural condition of the main building is that building will be the abatement will coincide with the demolition. So they'll be at the same time as they're demolishing the building, they'll be using lots of water, collecting the materials as a whole and packaging all that up in line trucks that would be transported to the landfill. And the entirety of the building would sort of go and be disposed of as asbestos contaminated waste. There'd be monitoring around the periphery of that building to make sure there's no airborne asbestos leaving the limits of the property during that process. For the residence itself, it's intact enough that that abatement will be done in a more traditional format inside within containments, and then the building would be demolished after that. Again, the plan includes the demolition of, or would include the demolition of the former dry cleaner facility. And once the site is sort of clear and free of the buildings, there would be some additional mobilization and effort to do some groundwater cleanup. At the moment, we're leaning towards using what they call in situ enhanced bioremediation. So this is these chlorinated solvents actually do degrade naturally, and microorganisms have been developed that are very effective in sort of breaking down these chlorinated solvents to more of a non-hazardous substance, and they tend to remain in the environment for quite a while. They sort of clean up and migrate with groundwater. So again, the idea would be that, over time, they would not only clean up the site, but they would also, travel with groundwater and clean up things that might be down gradient or associated with a sort of another plume that appears to be present within in the groundwater in Walsenburg. So that's it right now. The costs, there are some costs presented and they're rough order of magnitude, and we'll refine these here over the next couple of weeks. But in total, with some costs for Carlton's time, as well as and some travel for him and some other things, the grant total is sitting, or grant total application would be just under $1 million.
And part of the requirement of the public meeting and stuff is to have a draft of the grant proposal and public comment and public reading if they would like. And we do have that here, and we have several copies. And if anyone would like to have a copy of that, it is still a draft, and that is the requirements of the public meeting portion, that we have a draft. And so I want the record to show that that draft is available and can be made available and as necessary to meet the requirements. I also want to just say that as I mentioned, we've been working with KSU TAB. I was just handed from Carlton a note that I think might be interesting for the record, and that is there was another grant writing office hours from KSU TAB next week. And I plan to attend, just editorial comment. I think that'll get me in about 12 hours of this. Trying to keep back at the envelope records. Just attending things on how to write this grant and to get it done. So, just for your information, and, because we take this very seriously. This is a big deal. The opportunity to clean up this site is a big deal. The opportunity to reuse that is a big deal. The reuse plants are in the ground, and the reuse is to have some parking and to have some additional retail space that would be new retail space that could accommodate food or traditional retail. And so we will have to, this grant will not cover reuse, it covers cleanup, and then we have identified the sources, and they are part of the grant. They want to know how you plan to finance and to go forward with reuse of the property, and that is outlined in a little detail in the grant proposal. So just to make the record complete about what is included and what is not included in this grant proposal. Okay. At this point, we need to make an opportunity for anybody in the public who would like to have comments on this draft proposal or on this grant. And so I don't know how the commissioners want to conduct that, but we are at your pleasure.
Right.
Yeah, if we have some questions from the galley, if you want to come state your name and state a question.
Good morning, Commissioners, Administration, Fulla, Carlton. Ryan Geese, Colorado County resident. A couple of questions came up as I was reviewing some of that. I'd like to thank Nick. He cleared up a lot of the questions that I had. The residence that's behind the unit, I'm happy that's included because I've been inside that building and there's really no future use to that. And I did wonder about even raising the building in front, but still having that eyesore in the back. So I'm happy to hear that that's being included. Thank you for processing through that. Nick said this enhanced remediation solvents. I missed the name of that, Nick. If you could give me that.
Yeah. So what dry cleaners typically use is a chlorinated solvent, and that's the concern typically related to historical dry cleaners. The historical solvent is typically defined, utilized is trichloroethylene or PCE. It's kind of a sweet smelling solvent that, if you walked into a dry cleaner, you would recognize. And so the mechanism that we're proposing currently to utilize for the cleanup is what they call in situ. So that means in place, in ground, enhanced bioremediation. So again, the bio is the big part in that we'll be utilizing microorganisms. So again, these chlorinated solvents can be degraded utilizing just naturally occurring microorganisms. They exist probably at some level at the site now, but we would be, again, utilizing more or enhancing that program by injecting more into the ground to not only clean up the site, but again, they're pretty effective and have a decent lifespan and sort of continue to work as long as there is electron donor available and food, which is the chlorinated solvent. So as they migrate through the subsurface, if they come in, if there's more solvents downgrading, it'll sort of eat that up and continue to kind of work and process. I hope that helps.
Question to that was that some part of asbestos abatement also, or just to the?
So that's just for the groundwater. The asbestos abatement is part of the costing and the cleanup process. So again, as mentioned, because of the condition of the sort of the antique hall / old hospital, as a result of fire, that probably is going to be done in so sort of coinciding with demolition. So because it's an unsafe building to send individuals into, to remove the asbestos, and it can, essentially in a plastic containment. It would be done likely, all at once using wet techniques and air monitoring surrounding the property boundary. And then the asbestos that's in the residence, because it's intact enough, would likely be done in a more traditional manner, which is building sort of plastic containments inside a building, removing all the asbestos, clearing that with air clearances, and then demoing the building.
Thank you. Yeah, almost every building in Walsenburg has asbestos in it. I mean, I've seen that from crawl spaces, attics, the heating systems, flooring, painting, all kinds of things. It's got to be the number one obstacle to any remodel project that's in this county. One question, but thank you anyway. I was curious that I heard about a solvent to asbestos, and I've never heard of such a thing. So now that I know that's separate. A question that I did have for Lola and Carlton, is there enough room for a new retail unit there? Because I do believe parking is the number one concern of most of our business owners. To take away that block and then put up a new building seems contrary to the needs.
I think, like a candidate, okay, because you asked a very important question.
Thank you.
The EPA doesn't embrace parking as a full structure with a high priority. So we are looking at, on the outside of practices, a kind of like a two-story parking structure there, so that we provide the available parking and use the space to its maximum ability. And in the front, we will have to have some, we need retail. We have 3 million cars here that go through that intersection in 7th Main. People need a reason to get a break. So if we can have some more opportunities, whether they're service, whether they're retail, whether they're infrastructure, we want to be able to have some new and nice opportunities for people to be able to make consumption in properties. Yes, there will be done the analytics things to geocenter to know that we have the space that we need.
That's an excellent answer. Would that possibly be multi-story, live, work, loft kind of structure?
Structure right now, 2-level structure right now. And, there are a lot of, without getting beyond the brand, there are opportunities that we could make it better.
Sure. Yeah, I've seen most of that in Denver, and part of my move here was opportunities to do that. You also mentioned there's a packet available. Is that packet online, or is there something? Thank you, commissioners. Look forward to having that site cleaned up. It's definitely an eyesore through there. And obviously Walsenburg cannot support that. So thank you for the moves, and Carl, for everything you all did. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chair, if I may.
I'm sorry, what?
If I may.
Sure. Oh, yeah, so.
I would just like to say thank you for all the hard work that you put into this. There's a lot of back end work that I don't think everybody sees. But we see it, we appreciate it. And we're happy to partner with you guys and getting this thing cleaned up. It's a major eyesore. So I'm happy to see all the progress going forward on this.
Thank you. I just
Absolutely.
successful. I think we can be successful. Carl's with the team. okay? We're doing everything we know to do, I think we're all committed to getting it cleaned up and moving that, one nicely.
Man. Yeah, it's the top five, one of the top five things that's always talked about in this county. It's one of the top five things that's always talked about in this county that I hear about. So that's very appreciated. Okay. Anything else? Anything else?
No, if there is no more public comment, we, are happy to let you have the rest of your day then.
Okay. Is there any other public comment in the room or online?
No comment online.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Seeing none, thank you very much. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dave.
What's the last one? Okay, on to, we have no permits, licenses, or public hearings. On to action items.
All right, Commissioners, next I have for you a resolution number 25-54, resolution budgeting and appropriating additional sums of money to defray expenses in excess of amounts budgeted and appropriated for Huerfano County, Colorado during fiscal year 2025 and authorizing certain transfers. So this resolution updates the appropriations for the budget in each of the funds that has overages. And as a reminder, we do not budget grants unless they are in-house when the budget is done. So as the budget goes on, we don't do budget adjustments. Our system doesn't really allow it. So that's a big source of most of these changes. And then the transfers is just to move money around as we've not needed money in some funds and needed money in others. And then to correct, when we originally got the opioid settlement money, that money was deposited into the county general fund and special projects. And this just helps correct to make sure that we have all of that money accounted for in the opioid settlement fund. So.
Okay.
I will make a motion to approve resolution 25-54, the 2025 supplemental budget.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
and Mr. Booth.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next I have resolution number 25-45. This is a correction to this resolution. We previously listed the wrong address, 532 West 7th. This corrects it to 135 West 7th. And this is for the grant that Lowland College just presented on. So it's resolution number 25-45, resolution accepting the donation of real property known as 135 West 7th Street in Walsenburg, Colorado from Denise County for brownfield redevelopment.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-45, the resolution accepting the donation of real property known as 135 West 7th Street in Walsenburg, Colorado from Denise Stone for brownfield redevelopment.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wardell,
Yes.
Chairman Booth.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next, I have for you another correction of resolution, resolution number 25-53, a resolution establishing expedited review policies for affordable housing projects. For this one, we are required as part of state law that we're submitting this reviewing resolution for to include certain permit types. And I did not realize when we passed this originally that building permits are one of those permit types. Just like with all the other ones, the process to get a building permit typically takes a couple of days. Not how it is in our friends to the north. It can take months. But we've just updated to add building permits to a list of applications that this resolution applies to.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-53. a resolution establishing expedited review policies for affordable housing projects and corrections.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Pruitt.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, next we'll have for you resolution number 25-55, resolution amending chapter 3 of the Huerfano County Code to adopt an updated grants policy in the appeal resolution 18-53. This has been a 3-4 year effort to finally get our grants policy updated. So I am very happy to present it to you. The overall structure and requirements have not changed that much, but it is reworded, I think, for both clarity and simplicity. But generally speaking, the big things, grants will still come to you guys for approval before we apply and for approval when we on acceptance. We've laid out sort of the roles, I think, a little bit clearer with a lot less pages involved, just lay out sort of what we want to see happen and how we want grants to, that process to flow. So.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 25-55, a resolution amending chapter 3 of the Huerfano County Code to adopt an updated grants policy and repeal resolution 18-53.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Chairman Pruitt.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, the next item, resolution number 25-56, a motion amending Article 9 of Chapter 2 of the Huerfano County Code to adopt a training and education program. So commissioners, throughout the years, the county has occasionally paid for training for people. By training, I mean degrees or certain programs for people to go through in order to advance their careers with the county. The most notable version of this is with the sheriff's office, people going through post. This policy, one, helps outline that, make sure that employees know about this opportunity. What we've usually done is what's called a working condition fringe benefit under section 132D of the Internal Revenue Code. That isn't required to have a written policy or written plan. You can just do it. But I think it's important that the public and current and potential employees know that this is an option that's open to them. That's something they can request. It puts in process a request process, an agreement, so that as we make these investments in people, we can enforce if they decide to leave before the agreed upon time for them to stay with the county, which has happened a couple of times with the sheriff's office in recent memory. But it also lays out a benefit under section 127 of the Internal Revenue Code, where employees can take courses that are career related but not directly related to their career at the county. So it doesn't count as a fringe benefit. We can't pay for 100% of it. There's a limit of a little over $5,000 in the IRS code for this that kind of benefit. And this establishes some rules. It is required to have a program policy that's written. The same thing, transparency and clarity. And then the last component is an outline of our training and education program. We send county employees to trainings all the time. I think we've had a couple of instances of people being confused about sort of where that approval process lies and need to ask for permission. So this just outlines broadly how training works across the county, so that again, people know how to approach the department heads. Department heads know what their responsibility is to both the employee and to the county's financial position. So.
Well, thank you for your work on this, and I'm glad we have it added to our policies. I will make a motion to approve resolution number 25-56, a resolution amending Article 9 of Chapter 2 of the Huerfano County Code to adopt a training and education program.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Chairman Pruitt.
Yes.
Motion passes. Commissioner, next I have for you a professional service agreement between the county and Value West. This is the amendment to the term of that professional service agreement where the assessor uses this company primarily for commercial assessments. The budget amount for it is about $30,000 a year. That amount covers both doing the assessments and any potential appeals or anything like that that might come up. We've never actually spent that much money with them because I don't think they've had any. They might have one appeal over the last couple of years since we've started working with them. But it is a program that the assessor's office has come to rely on. So we request your approval.
Make a motion to approve the Value West Extension Agreement 2026.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Spooner?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, next I have for you a contract service agreement for an on-call consulting real estate broker. You remember last month we awarded to Code of the West and Impact Real Estate to do certain real estate services for the county, including advisory services. This contract is for Impact to do advisory services quickly for things that are related. So when we do a grant related, so just like a CDOT grant or a federal grant that requires us to acquire right away, even to temporarily acquire right away, this grant will set this contract sets the rates that we use. We use them for those kinds of activities.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for services agreement on-call consulting real estate broker.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spooner?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, next I have for you agenda number 1 to our agreement with Mission to Market. This agreement is with the county through the tourism board as the primary portion of the county that works with Mission to Market. They are currently providing some of these services to us in the form of our newsletter and other incidental services related to it, coming up with flyers and helping us distribute things. This adds on social media posting and the website, as well as copy editing and other services related to that, help us maintain our presence online to make sure we get information out to the public. I think the newsletter so far has gone over pretty well. We've issued that monthly for the last 4 or 5 months. So this adds additional $12,000 onto that agreement. So it'll be a total of $24,000 a month for the county related services, separate from their services they provide to the tourism board.
I'll make a motion to approve the Woodford County Mission to Market Communications Services contract addendum in the amount of $24,000.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Spooner?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, next after you a request to approve the extension of the U.S. Economic Development Administration grant that funds the Wheelhouse Business Incubator. You might remember about 2 months ago, we submitted a letter to EDA. They were closed at the time, so it took them a while to process this. But they have approved this extension for 6 months, no additional cost. So the current budget of the grant is not changing anything like that through the end of June of next year.
I'll make a motion to accept the extension of the U.S. EDA grant request for the Retail Business Incubator Project.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spooner?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioner, next I have for you a service order for ClearGov. ClearGov is a budgeting software. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is you guys might remember in our workshops before the budget was passed, I had concerns about this cost. With the changes in DHS and how DHS budgeting works, it'd be a huge benefit and quite honestly, it's a sanity saver have a program that allows us to do the advanced personnel budgeting calculations that are required for splitting people out amongst different grants. So that's the main reason why this is brought back before you. It includes the operational budgeting, which is their core platform, personnel budgeting, which is what we require for DHS, and then the digital budget book, which will save us time and energy in publishing this to the public. So the total cost for next year would be $9,690. And then the annual cost going forward would be $14,535. I propose that this cost be split with DHS, or split between the various funds, including the DHS fund. Because that's the main reason why I think we're needing this kind of program.
I'll make a motion to approve the service order with ClearGov on the amount of $14,535.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Oh, right.
This question came up among the audience over here, so I'll be willing to stand up and ask. You said that this would be split between DHS and the county for cost. Isn't DHS already a county cost? Is that just Peter and Paul?
Well, yes, it is. But what we're talking about when I say that is between the county general fund or another county fund and the DHS fund. There's a long answer to this, but the short answer is DHS has its own financial system. So financially, they've been in their own set of books. We're working on changing that next year, but that's what I mean. I'm working on trying to get out of that habit of the county and DHS. But yeah, split between various county funds, including the DHS funds fiscally.
So this is a software program, or is there consulting services, help desk, et cetera, to that?
And it's a software program, but there are help desk services for maintaining it, customer support and implementation support. It actually waives the cost of most of that upfront cost for activation, onboarding, and training.
Is that, I mean, how are you handling the budget now? You have a software program that you're putting the budget together with.
I have a series of
Currently, yeah.
spreadsheets.
Okay. Yeah.
I have
Okay.
70 spreadsheets.
So this really is a Band-Aid to internally here, as well as the DHS problem that we're swimming in.
Right. So for the general county budget, I've 5 or 6, 7 spreadsheets that we use to organize everything and to put everything in do all the calculations required. And then there's the DHS budget, which has its own, it has 2 massive spreadsheets that lay out all the employers across each of the funding sources and all the funding sources as far as what their divisions are and what their allocations are, what's county money, what's not. Some of that's not going to be doable in the system, or I didn't want to spend the additional cost to put all that in the system because I wasn't sure, not 100% that it will work, but it will work on the personnel budgeting piece of it. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you. Is that also then going to be public record? Is ClearGov something that citizens can go in and see those budget movements, or is it still internal document?
The budget book is public facing. People will be able to see the budget digitally that way. There's a transparency module that I didn't acquire that will allow people to see sort of how the county is spending money on a regular basis. If it's updated. We did have this program a few years ago, 2021, 22, and we had that module, and getting the updates to it was difficult. So, you know, as time goes on, we have the funds for expanding this. Having that module back would be nice, although we might start simply with just posting financials on the website and see how people react to that. And if there's interest in having more depth, because the county's budget with 15 funds, 16 funds can get complicated.
Yeah, totally. All right, excellent. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Call for the vote.
All right. Commissioner Chamberlain.
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell.
Yes.
Chairman Spillier.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you, your December 2025 prepaid vendor run in the amount of $560,044.16. Most of these are costs that you want to get out before the end of the year. It's a whole lot easier on finance to make sure that you get things spent in a timely fashion on the end of the year. So things that are for 2020, expenses incurred in 2025 or spent in 2025. That's not 100% possible at any rate, but the more we can push forward, the better. There's also a few things that are grant reimbursable that in order to be able to reimburse on them sooner rather than later, I want to make sure they get paid for this month rather than next month, regardless of where we actually approve the expense.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2025 vendor run. 2025 prepay vendor run for December in the amount of $560,044.16.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you quotes from Enterprise Fleet Management for the acquisition of 3 vehicles in 2026. I included our 2 Ford Explorers for the Human Services Department and 1 Ford F-250 for emergency management. My goal here is to sell several of the vehicles that are owned by DHS, owned by the county, but they're accrued for they're accounted for in the DHS fund. Once those Explorers arrive, the current DHS Explorer has been turned over to Los Animas County on January 13th at the end of that long-term care agreement that's paying for that Explorer. So I want to make sure that DHS has at least 1, ideally 2 reliable vehicles. I can take it on the list of their vehicles and sort of their issues. But it is a department that is having to go places, having to be here, there, and everywhere. So that safety and accountability aspect is important. The F-250 is for hazard mitigation for Ross. His current F-250, I think it is one of the older ones. He does have to haul a lot of vehicles, a lot of equipment here, there, and everywhere, wood, the chipper, things like that. So having a good, reliable vehicle is important in that situation. That fund can also sustain that cost. I am still working on trying to figure out a solution for Public Works that needs an F-250 or 350 for all the work that particularly Chris does with GPID. Getting the cost right on that is a little bit difficult because of sort of the things that he needs in order to operate. But right now he has nothing. So, or none of those helpful things. Utility boxes are expensive. So one of the Ford Explorers is in stock at a dealer. You may or may not be able to get that vehicle, depending on if it's still there or not. But that one costs $844.70 a month. You can probably get it within a month if it's still available. And then factory ordering is much cheaper, as you can see on that card memorandum. So factory order 2026 Ford Explorer is $776.27. But of course, you have to wait for it. And the F-250 is also factory order.
I'll make a motion to authorize the order of 2025 Ford Explorer at an amount not to exceed $845 per month. In 2026 Ford Explorer at $776.20 per month. In 2026 F-250 at the amount of $170.51 per month from Enterprise Fleet Management.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain?
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell?
Yes.
Chairman Spillier?
Yes.
Motion passes. All right. Next I have for you memo on sick time donations. So in our revisions to the handbook that we adopted on, I'm going to put the resolution number, but I think it's resolution number 25. I think it's 42, something like that. We adopted a sick donation bank policy and ended the practice of employers donating sick time to each other. Employees haven't received a new handbook yet. It was just completed signing on Sunday night from all those officials. And it's going to be distributed this week with them giving them some time to get it back signed. Some employees have submitted old donation forms. In order to help facilitate the transition between system, was that it has donations, which include 95 hours to use the sheriff's department and 20 hours to do in Buddenfire of EHS be rejected or not approved, and the same amount of hours be taken from the sick bank and granted to those two employees. I think that will, one, help out our payroll team so that they're not having to transfer those sick leave bank times. It's not as administratively clean as one might think, where it is pretty simple just to add the hours.
I'll make a motion to authorize 95 hours from the sick bank be granted to Dan Matthews and 20 hours from the sick bank be granted to Dylan Bernard.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
Commissioner Riddell,
Yes.
Commissioner Chin,
Yes.
Chairman Spooner.
Yes.
Motion passes. All right, Commissioners, next I have for you the SCED letter from SCED as well as the dues for SCED for 2026. I forget to attach the invoice. I think I did. But the main question here is, are you okay with proceeding with paying for that SCED invoice? Let me pull it up real quick separately, since I forgot to attach it.
30 cents per resident.
3 cents per resident is 33. 3 cents per resident. Oh, 3 cents per resident increase. So it's, yes, it's total 30 cents per resident. It's been a long year.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, so that total amount is $2,119.
Make a motion to approve the SCED dues invoice in the amount of $2,119.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? For the vote.
Commissioner Chamberlain,
Yes.
Commissioner Waddell,
Yes.
Chairman Spooner.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next I have for you a similar letter from CCI. This time I put the invoice in there. The annual dues amount is $12,951. Both of these are 2026 expenses, so I'll take care of them. For CCI, the big question for this one is both to approve that expense, but also the county is eligible to join their public lands team, which we never have, but it's a separate membership of about $600. They didn't even send us the invoice for it this time, so I don't have it in front of me. But to get direction from you, separate from the motion at this time, if you'd like to consider joining that public lands team, I think that there's a letter in here. There is from Dwayne McFall of Fremont and Jim Candelaria of Montezuma about that public lands group.
I think it'd be beneficial for us to join that, and have a voice on what happens to public lands.
Yeah.
So too.
And I've actually been on quite a few of their calls, and it is pretty informative.
I'll request that invoice from CTSI, but if you approve the current invoice in front of you, we'll get that one into pay, and we get that one's going to reach the $2,000 limit, so we'll process that one out.
I'll make a motion to approve invoice 2026-742 to Colorado Counties Incorporated in the amount of $12,919. $951.
Second.
First and second, any other discussion? Call for the vote.
All right, Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner Chan,
Yes.
Chairman Spillier.
Yes.
Motion passes. And that is the end of action items.
Okay, on to correspondence.
The Commissioners, first have you a letter from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, confirming that they have approved our hazard mitigation plan. Next, I have your leave balances report as of December 19th. The sheriff's revenue report is next. So you have the November and December sheriff report. And that is the end of.
Okay. On to public comment. I have up to 3 minutes to present comment. As a board through the chair, as opportunity to express your views and generally do not engage in back and forth. Please address your name and before providing your comments. No one signed up here. Anyone online? Seeing none on staff reports.
All right, Commissioners, so I didn't put a formal staff report in because of the long holiday break since our last meeting. And just to focus on the budget before then. So right now we have the administrative assistant position that's open, or reopened, I should say. We're also going to reopen the crusher operator position for just another week or so. And Levine's going to go on vacation. Let's do our interim HR person. So we figured to give people a little bit more time to apply in the holiday season if people are interested. Interviews were held for case aid and caseworker and DHS. We're waiting on some final decisions there from DHS about if they want to make offers, things like that. But that process is moving along. You should have at your next meeting a green sheet for the FRC director position. FRC manager is what we're calling it now, I guess. But yeah, we are rolling along with hiring.
Okay, nothing from county attorney.
Nope.
No executive session. And we have upcoming meetings 11. Well, maybe not 11. Administrative workshop and a Parks and Rec workshop at 1. And
Make a motion to adjourn.
second. First and second. Any other thoughts? Call for the vote.
Yes.
Yes. Chairman Spillier.
Yes,
Motion passes.
we are adjourned at 11:12.
Honest meeting of the year.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
You sound like I feel there.
Yeah, because love this jacket, by the way. Thank you. It's gotta be one of your dad's or that's
No.
not a new one. Wow.